Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Black Affluence Podcast. I'm your host, Xavier Snow, digital entrepreneur and CEO at Black Affluence. My goal is to expose fellow Black millennials to the keys of building wealth while also spotlighting young hustlepreneurs leaving a positive impact on their community. They say rich parents hand their children money, making them rich kids, but in reality, they hand them knowledge. There's a big difference between having money and being wealthy. The Black Affluence Podcast, the show answering questions you may have never even known to ask. Now let's jump right into today's episode. What's going on, beautiful people? My name is Xavier Snow, and I'm the host of the Black Affluence Podcast. Today, I am joined by the one and only John Whatley, CEO of Dream House. This man and his team have been doing some amazing things. If you don't mind, sir, just introduce yourself and tell our audience a little bit about what you do.
Hi all, I'm John, or John Whatley, I guess. My friends call me Whatley. If one of them are watching, they quite know that. But anyway, so I run this company called Dream House. We're a smart tech co-living shared space provider that provides. I thought he would come in, so it's probably good we started just now because my brother's so maybe we can do a quick start over.
Absolutely, that's perfect.
Yeah.
All right, tell me when you. Let me know when you're ready.
Or should I? I'm trying to decide should I do it like in a different room, so it's like he won't really as interrupted as he kind of comes through. You could explain how to get the backdrop.
The virtual background. Yeah, if you talking about the virtual background.
Yeah.
Okay, if you go to let me see. It's these three dots right here. I usually do it on my phone, so nope, that's not it. I think it's in the settings. 1 second, let me see. Yeah, I think it's in the settings. Settings, video, advanced. Okay, yeah, it's in the backgrounds. If you go to the settings, backgrounds and filter, you can either just choose a logo, or you can choose one of the. You can choose something from your computer, or you can choose. Oh, it's in the. If you start Zoom, you know how Zoom should have it. You know how when you start Zoom, there's a regular profile screen, and then there's the actual meeting screen.
No. Whenever I use Twitter, I just like click on the link and it takes me straight to whatever I'm doing. So, no, I mean it's no worries.
Okay.
Like I do what we got going on just now.
Yeah, he's cool, man.
That's it. Cause I found it. Is it? Yeah. Video test. I have one. Cool.
And I appreciate you again, man.
Oh no, yeah. Thanks for having me as well. Just. We'll go with this one because it's easy. Watch subscribe with green screen support virtual background. I have a green screen. I don't have a green screen.
Oh, that looks kind of weird.
Yeah, I didn't like that either. Yeah.
I guess the green screen does. Usually, if you have, I don't know. Like usually, the green screen.
You know what I could do? Just like this is me being stupid. I can switch. So let me get my charger.
Sure.
just switched over here, and I have the charger, have the placemat, and you can't see Josh walking through the back.
Okay, cool, man. Hold on real quick. Hey, hold on real quick.
Your car, does it takes the fancy gas, right?
Premium gas. I'm about to record a podcast, so you come through the back or text me.
Okay, just to make sure. I'm going to put some gas on the car, so it takes the premium one?
Yeah, premium.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
That looks better, but we'll just go with what we have going.
Keep it simple. That's cool, man.
Sweet.
Cool.
So I'm ready if you are.
Awesome. Let me make sure. Okay. Cool.
All right.
All right.
I'll get to that in a second.
Alrighty. Let's try it again. Take 2. Mr. John Whatley. Alrighty. Let's get it. Count down. 3, 2. What's going on, beautiful people? I'm your host, the Black Affluence Podcast, Xavier Snow. And today I am joined by an incredible, amazingly gifted, and intellectual young man by the name of John Whatley. He is the CEO of Dream House, and he's been doing this thing for the past few years. And I'm very excited to have him share his knowledge to our platform. 1 second.
Sweet.
Dang.
Yeah, we're quite famous, eh?
Man, tell me about it. I don't even know. Let me see. Can I turn this off? That's my job. That's my my work phone, but it's not even. Somehow people got my number from my work phone and it's just spamming me. It's crazy.
No, it's happened to me on a few occasions. You wouldn't believe how many like moving companies or like resale companies call me just like on a daily basis. Just it's actually like harassment a little bit, to be honest.
Dude, I'm just gonna do not disturb.
I like lighting over here a bit better.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's better light.
Yes, sir. All right, take 3. Third time's a charm. Let's get it. All right. Let's cut. What's going on, beautiful people? My name is Xavier Snow, and I'm the host of the Black Affluence Podcast. Today, I'm joined by a very, very unique individual. He goes by the name of John Whatley, and he is the CEO of Dream House. And he has been doing some amazing things internationally and in the United States. And I'm just very excited for him to share his knowledge with our audience. So, Mr. Whatley, can you please just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure, yeah. So I guess people who know me, I'm John or Johnny or Whatley from my closer friends. So shout out to them if they are watching. But as well, I run a small company, small for now anyway, called Dream House. We're a prop tech real estate development firm that develops micro units, smart units, co-living spaces, co-working spaces, this sort of thing. But then we take technology, brings tech to your mobile phones through what we call the Dream app. But we also expand past this more increasingly now to more smart tech devices or smart tech robotics that we're calling Domovoy. Domovoy. Yeah. My Russian's not that great, so why do we name it this? It's all about this mythology thing where this basically a dust bunny that watches over your house, makes sure it's clean, and protects the doorways. So, with that, we're kind of pushing the scope of what co-living is, what co-working is, what these services offer. And I guess I'll look forward to sharing more with you, Xavier, and the rest of the audience in the next few minutes.
Wow, man, that's amazing. I just want to unpack because some people may not be familiar with the concept of co-living. They may have heard of the co-working with the WeWork and things like that. Right. But can you just kind of explain how that works in a layman's sense?
Sure, yeah. So basically what we're doing is we're taking certain square footage of a space, subdividing it to be able to offer more units, more living space, more common space that's shared between a community of people. Very similar to what you have with a co-working space or WeWork. We're bringing in better fixtures. We're bringing in better amenities, better furnishing as well to kind of decorate the space. Yeah. Because we're able to subdivide and add more units to a space, it's also a bit cheaper for us to be able to do the fixtures. We have more to spend on that. But it also adds longer-term value to our partner landlords and a better sense of community and belonging to the renters that live and work with us. And I guess in a way there's two models we're kind of following here. One is a subdivided living space where there are several units surrounding one common space and bathroom. Everyone has private bathrooms for the most part. But the other way is we do micro units, but we still offer that community atmosphere, these community spaces, or be they in the building or outside of the building. And because of COVID, that's something that we're getting deeper and deeper into and may become our mainstay model internationally.
Wow. Yeah. And you've been doing this for how long?
So 5 years about, but successfully for 2.
Successfully for 2. Wow, that's a big point that you just made. You know, just realizing that I think a lot of people may get discouraged when they're starting out their journey. So, if you could just unpack, what's one thing you wish you would have known when you first started your entrepreneurial journey?
So mine may be really specific to real estate, but because I'm not like I guess on our team I'm more on the real estate side, but kind of in the middle of the tech side as well. So I can, not to make an Avatar reference very early in a conversation, but like like the Avatar can kind of bridge both realms in a way. If I had known a bit more before getting started, I definitely would have been looking for a development-minded partner. That, you know, before when we started, I was like strictly tech guy, strictly looking at we were just really heavy on the tech side. We knew we had to have some kind of like real estate, but the real estate we were looking for was mostly renters, realtors, leasing agents, and that sort of thing. And it didn't end up working out because they're very incentivized in terms of like how they work, what they're looking for in terms of projects and the returns. And, you know, it makes sense when I guess you have a bunch of capital to kind of throw at them and kind of help themselves be improved and kind of make their time still valuable for them. It didn't work out as well for us because in the beginning we didn't really have that, so it wasn't as easy to get them incentivized to make the sales. Or when they made the sales, the whole process of us having to do the follow-up with the owners of these buildings across 3 months, we didn't know necessarily immediately we needed to be doing that. Had we had a development partner who understood development, understood the numbers, understood how to get us into projects and into rooms for future developments, we probably would have approached the whole service unit sector at the beginning of things instead of doing a tech incubator first. And we more than likely wouldn't have been wasting our time trying to find rentals that didn't necessarily fit a model. We would have had a better flow of what a model or what our Marriott-esque standard would be in that sense.
I love it. You know, as you describe this understanding that you came to come about, it kind of reminds me of the Jim Collins book, Good to Great. And the idea, the book the part where he talks about getting the right people on the bus before you get going, how critical it is to have the right team members, regardless of industry. That's so important to have the right people that understand the components. Like you said, you were looking for a certain type of person. I mean, they were in real estate, but they might not have had the experience and the know-how to navigate and to maneuver in those spaces. So I definitely understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, and I will say, I got to work with one of my best friends, or my best friend currently, but so that made it even easier. Like I'll say, like, starting off in a startup in general can be very, like, taxing mentally, emotionally. Just like it's kind of like constantly trying to save a really bad marriage or something, or constantly trying to save a really bad raise a bad kid or something like that. Like you adopted a bad puppy or something. It's like trying to get it to understand or like work the way you need it to work is quite frustrating. And I heard it described by some other startup founder as kind of like going through Groundhog Day. So I'm going to steal that and appropriate it here. Just like it is like waking up every morning like, oh, I'm doing the same thing again. So it's good to have somebody who can just like. So I would say if I could do it over again, I definitely would pick some of the same team members, especially my co-founder James. But I also would probably pick a few more like developers, more like down the line interested or career path developers, finance guys, just like somebody who fit the scope of what we needed to kind of take us to the next level. But I also don't mean to disregard people who have like growth or potential, because no one's going to wake up tomorrow and be like, Elon Musk or Steve Jobs or something. Like we all are in the process of becoming, whoever we're going to be. So being patient with people that way is also something that I probably should learn or express that as a good rule of thumb as well.
Absolutely. So one of the things I really enjoy is not just hearing about the successes of entrepreneurs and business owners. And yes, you did just state how you had to overcome, the team development side. But in your humble opinion, what would you say is the biggest failure that you've had to overcome since you first launched?
Biggest failure. So we'll go with the Dewdrop. That was one of those like. So I guess to take it back to what Dewdrop is, it was a basically a hotel that's living space, workspace development that we were doing in New Orleans originally. Back in let's say the 1950s, 1930s, it was part of the Chitlin circuit, where people would travel around, and I mean most of our viewers probably would kind of gather what that is. But so as a part of that, had a lot of history, very key to the New Orleans market, and we were trying to take that same history, bring it back, and add to the space. We got to the final, after spending 6 months raising for this project, we found an investor who was local to New Orleans, had ran and runs currently several museums in the area, and was heavily invested in like helping that LaSalle area kind of come back. And my French is also bad, so it just is probably worse than my German, so don't worry about that. But so they were like really interested in investing. We had like the whole project under contract. We had like a day left to close, and we have a dinner with them that say like they're ready to sign tomorrow. This is like our I guess our Hail Mary in a sense. Like I guess we raised everything. We were short like maybe 45,000, something like this. A very small number in terms of what the development actually was costing. But anyway, we found these investors. They planned to come to the table the next day. They actually decided to pull out because of the family who owned the project currently, the original owners. They didn't mention they had an aunt that owned it, maybe like 9% of the project, but it was a silent owner. She was about 95 herself. And the banks were saying, well, she doesn't have any family, but maybe like a nephew or something comes up and she puts in her will, and there could be an issue down the line. So basically it made the investors that we found be a bit skittish around this. That was hurtful because we wasted, I wouldn't say wasted, we spent 6 months like nurturing this project, learning about it, having tons of events around it, like a bunch of marketing dollars just put into it. And for the last 45 that you need to kind of be pulled out. And me not, at this stage in our career, not really have. That was a learning curve, man. That sucked. It was a big failure for us. But I wish I could say that from it we had like a bunch of other wins. Yeah. I mean, we did, but they just weren't like the next day. It took like months for us to actually feel successful again. But that's how it goes.
So what was your big takeaway from that experience? What did you learn?
One, team is incredibly important when you're doing any project. Like whoever's going to be there on the signing the line with you or putting up with your mess throughout something as stressful as that. And learning that attitude before you even get into bed with somebody like this is hyper important. Just because when things go sour and money starts getting weird, I had a great grandmother used to say, "Love goes out the window when poverty comes in through the door." It's a similar situation with this, this deal there. Once things started getting hard, you started to see people's frustration, or their frustrated side, come out a bit more, and that made other sensitivities come up a bit more as well. So that's one takeaway, was know who you're getting into it with when you get into it. The other one is for real estate, probably strictly, or maybe just any deal in general, it's just don't get attached. Deals come and go. I think long term is the company you work with, the people you're working with, the mission behind it. That's more important than your deal. Deal flows, they seem important at the time, but they're really not. You can find another deal. Maybe not another relationship though, or another broker or another partner to work with. That talent in mind, you really can't replace that.
Man, that's so true, man. You could just you can really just write a book off that one answer you just gave, because it's just so much to unpack. You know what I'm saying? It's very. I'm glad that you were able to get the right people on the bus, as they say, and you were able to learn from the what happened with the Chitlin circuit and that building and that deal not coming through. Because like you said, you were able to bounce back, and you've had wins that I'm sure surmount that make that seem small change. So I'm glad you stuck through. So I know you mentioned that you were in the tech and real estate side of things. But I'm just curious, because right now a lot of people are looking to get involved in different things. What advice would you give someone, let's say, wanting to get involved into real estate specifically, because I know that is a hot topic, especially amongst millennials?
So the way I did it was a bit different. So I'm not sure my advice would be as useful. To, I guess, on a general tip, so say you're just looking to do small homes, maybe a few commercial spaces here and there, that sort of thing. I kind of came in and sought out people who were already doing that, and just brought them more systematic ways to improve their ROI or NOI. But if I were to start over and just I wanted to be a wholesaler or something, I would say just keep in mind that that's a lot of driving for bucks, depending on what city you're in, maybe walking, but driving for bucks in terms of looking for different locations that you want to suss out for redevelopment, refurbishment, that kind of thing. Right. Start off a little bit live below your means a bit as well. So if I buy an apartment or a home or something like this, I buy something that I know that's a bit above me in terms of what I'm renting out to people, and live a little bit below that means myself. That's one way I know people have done this a bit. Fix it up and then resell it. If you wish to resell it, me personally, the way that I like things is actually to manage them for a bit and build a portfolio around a bunch of units we can manage. That's only because I have the tech side to guarantee that I don't cap out at the rent dollars. I also have services I add to the unit. We rather, a company has services we add to the units as well. So, I mean, I guess in a way that would be my a very general answer.
Okay.
But maybe it also depends on what market you're focused on.
Okay.
If you're, for instance, looking at the Southeast, a lot easier but high competition. I would say look at the different areas. Make sure you understand the trends that are going on in these areas in terms of like growth or in terms of stagnation from just like overdevelopment. People are afraid of bubbles and corrections, but if you're a long-term renter or a long-term landlord, then maybe that doesn't bother you as much. But just like be ready for the ebb and flow of it all as well. I think that's my last tip. Oh yeah, and ultimately don't care about what you gave the last guy for a rental price. Like let the market determine what that price is. Don't overthink. Like, I gave this last guy, he's renting for $1,200 a month. I can't make this new guy pay $1,400. I mean, if the market's saying that, do that. Don't. Old deals don't matter. Tenants don't matter. The numbers matter.
That's nice. Yeah, I can definitely see that applying to different businesses as well. It's just being aware of what the market is charging for your services and making sure that you are oriented in a way that is conducive to the sales of, what people are actually willing to pay. But I'm just curious, what are some of the resources that you found that has helped you succeed in your career?
So I read pretty avidly, so books. I read like maybe this year alone I've read like maybe 5 or 6 books. About 5 or 6 books. But so that's probably number one. Just like finding different resources from
could you name a few?
So like the AI experience, and now I can't remember who actually wrote this. It's actually a textbook.
Okay.
Actually Built to Last, and the other one Built to Last, and the other one is the red one. Not 0 to 1. That's all right then. Purple Cow as well. I just read that.
Great book.
And I'm rereading Work in Progress, Michael Eisner's autobiography. And my brain is like blanking out today. There's been 2 other ones this year as well. The Almanac of I can't remember the name of the book. The Almanac of something or another, but it's quite new. It's from this Indian tech guy. One of my mentors recommended it to me, and the last one was cannot remember now. Mobile Mind Shift by Ask. But that was the last one. But yeah, still kind of busy with that. Sorry, keeping like the text messages.
It's all good, man. You're popular, man. I think we understand.
Yeah. Thanks. Let's see. Yeah, but no, I'm back. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm not gonna like actually text them back just now. Right. So are we ready, Ash?
Yep. So let's just keep diving into how you kind of developed your mindset. Can you just name 3 people who have had the most impact on you as far as influencing in your life?
Let's go with Walt Disney for sure. Just like the whole Tomorrowland, like this whole vision of like Epcot and everything like that that's quite inspirational long term. I think his brother Roy did, and it was also just as impressive. As a matter of fact, when I look for a business partner, I try to find someone that can kind of be the Roy to the wall that I'm trying to bring to the table, and like really answer some of the questions I have in terms of like I'm not really business minded, and my brain's not always like focused sharp, especially I don't have any tea or coffee. But just like, so I need somebody there that can like pick up some of that slack when I get fuzzy. The last guy would probably be Michael Eisner. Like, just talking about somebody who brought a company that was basically going bankrupt at zero from the brink of that, made it like a cultural revolution, not just for the company itself, but for America, the world. Like the whole reason we have Bob Iger or what's Chesapeake now is because this dude basically said, "Let me rewrite the book on like what entertainment is." Took years of experience from other companies that he had from Hollywood, from like playing sports back in the day, and like headed them to what he was doing at the House of Mouse, which for the most part was like your Nana's version of entertainment. He made it kind of like 90s New World hip, to some daring changes. So those are definitely my three. Especially I keep going on with Michael because he's alive. So if he sees this, I can actually meet him. That'd be awesome. But just those three for sure.
Okay. And so you take a bit, it sounds like you just take a bit of each of them and you apply it to your own creativity and your own business and the direction that you're trying to go right now. Love it, man.
Yeah, plus
for sure, man.
Always plus things, I guess.
Say that again?
So always plussing things, like
I don't know.
They have an idea that they do X, Y, and Z. I say, well, how can I apply that to a company that's like still a startup, but we have some real ambitions of being somewhere eventually. So,
okay.
But that's
so
is global. Go ahead,
yeah, let's talk about that. I mean, let's. But before we get into all of the great things that your company is doing right now, can you talk about the vision? Because I think that's something a lot of people may confuse or they may be misguided when it comes to having a vision. Can you just describe what the vision was when you first started and how has it progressed since then?
So when we first started, we were doing this like tech incubator type thing where we called it, it's still called Dream House, of course. But the idea was you log in with us, not log in, sorry. You'd check in with us like as a renter. We kind of took it from this idea of, hey, this bunch of coders that are coding, and then at the end of the night, they're sleeping on the floor, on couches, just like sleeping bags and all this. We said there's probably a system we could do where we could just like rent them out sleeping cots or rent them out like, just a place where they can lay down or whatever. So took it from that. Then we took it to doing like small apartments, like in the general area of where that sleeping cots were. And then from that, we took it to being like, oh, here's 1 or 2 places. It's a house. Keep growing. Eventually, I ended up moving to the UK for a little while. And while there, we had like a really hard time finding, rentals that were A, affordable, but B, to like American Western space standards. Like, so you're a lot of sharing space, a lot of dirty bathrooms, a lot of poorly cleaned kitchens, just a lot of very small bedrooms with no windows occasionally. Well, one window maybe. Not like in America where you have you have a choice of like what window you're open, which one you're closed, that kind of thing. Anyway, like broom closets and stuff. So very Harry Potter lifestyle. We discovered then like there's probably a demand in the market for something that we would offer back home, like furnished units. Fast forward a while later, I moved to Berlin, and I guess while there, we're seeing like constantly these Western Union scams come up. People were like trying to basically get you to send them. I mean, you probably can suss out how that goes. They're trying to get you to send them your information so they can like extract that and leave you hanging and never get a unit. It's probably never a real listing. So we were like, well, there has to be a way to be reliable with renting as well, no matter where you are. So that kind of made us double down with this, like, at first, very loose startup we were doing. Now we're like, oh, we can. This is like room for a company here, probably global. Moved back to the United States and we just keep going. Eventually that changed into us doing from startup housing to just, at that point I think in Berlin, that's when it changed from us doing startup housing to us doing like regular units. And we did that for the first 2 years, just trying to get that off the ground of just like offering regular units. Originally, we were partnered with a few tech coding schools to house their students. We started to expand past that to do more of a general stay to everyone. The vision at that point became, well,
I don't have an answer for that.
I'm not sure why I did that. Anyway, the vision for that kind of came to be, how can we make these units that we have been, I guess, redeveloping, adding to, like, doing these furnishing, how can we double the service here? How can we make it feel more like a hotel, more like an actual destination, more like an experience? So we started playing around with some tech. James actually recommended this idea of adding what we call smart cards or dream cards. So using like NFT technology, so like your phone to tap into things, tap out of things, and kind of expand on that. And that eventually rolled into us doing this thing called Dream App. People can check in, check out, make reservations, see the events, have a community all on their phone, make maintenance requests. And so that's like a framework that was built. And with that framework, and with the system that we were kind of already built, we were able to connect overseas to investors there after, a mentor that I had invited us, kind of pitched on the product, and we discovered some other tech teams there as well. So this is a long answer to say, ultimately we ended up doing the real estate first and then fell into tech when we kept saying, well, how can we make services even better? How can we improve this? How can we improve that? And that's, I think, the whole thing about Dream House that we're doing is trying to make all of our spaces like your specific or your ideal of your dream house. More customization. I mean, it obviously does mean more expensive housing, but we're also looking at different brackets in terms of I wouldn't say pay scale, but yeah, just like target audiences in terms of like low, medium, high, premium service, medium service, and standard service, that sort of thing. That's where we're going, and we're hoping to make the world a home through this, kind of like an Amazon that you happen to live in a way.
I love it, man. I love it, bro. You have some beautiful ideas, and just the fact that you are always able to, like you said, plus it, add on, learn from other people, and just build your own business is just, it's very admirable. And one of the other things that I did find interesting in our conversation we had last week, you mentioned how you're bringing your business back to the United States, and you're looking to expand into the Atlanta market and things like that. And one of the things that was really interesting that you mentioned was the idea that, you are aware that gentrification may be a process or a byproduct of some of the development, but you also doing things to help stem that process. Can you just kind of talk about your mindset and, what it is around gentrification and how you guys are going about helping fix those issues?
No, sure. So I guess having lived just recently in an area that is being gentrified, and I mean, I may, to a good degree, be one of the gentrifiers. Just happen to be the same color as the normal populace that's there. I can kind of understand or at least empathize with them when they say, like, yeah, my whole neighborhood's changing. Especially when you have Uber drivers drop you off somewhere and they go, oh, I didn't know this development was here. They're pushing us out. And they're saying it like they're about to cry. Like that kind of rings home for you a bit. So when our head of development at the time Ryan brought the idea of doing like a fund in a way. Well, basically, I wouldn't say a crowd fund, but a private equity company that would kind of focus around community dollars that be used to keep people within the area, or it would used to be keep people within an area, like invest in different projects we were bringing to the table. I saw nothing but a bonus. Originally, what we were hoping to do was make it a system where, as we had a lot of artists living with us, we had a lot of tech guys living with us, and for minorities, it's terribly hard to find investment dollars. I think most of our viewers can contest to this. They're in the startup sector. Even if they're in the real estate sector, they probably have some problem making friends with new brokers. So our idea was, if you had a project that was good enough that you can get the community behind, that the community would invest in it, own a small percentage of your project, and we could use this as like a propelling system to keep our own like living community growing, our own the ideas in the community kind of fresh, the attitudes and the people who are moving in with us really excited about, I guess the dream, not just Dream House as a community, but the neighbors that are there as well, and the ideas that are coming out of it. Kind of like a Y Combinator on steroids in a way. This slowly became this thing where, hey, we're coming into some of these like lower income areas, and we're like redeveloping these like dilapidated flats. Dilapidated buildings into flats. We were like, well, maybe we can allow for these people who live here locally to also invest in the project, and not a lot of money, just like $100. Like $100. Let's say I still own a part of where I was, and even if I got kicked out, even I moved, had to move to wherever else, I'm still like connected to the neighborhood in some way. It sounds like heartfelt in a way, and kind of like it's like $100 ownership is not a lot of money for 8% a year. That's inconsequential, but it's the feeling of it that does matter. No matter how you want to look at it and discount it, it does matter if you own part of your neighborhood. And two, this was our like catalyst. There wasn't a maximum amount you could invest. There was a minimum. It was $100. But the idea itself, like still owning a piece of your neighborhood, is still very important. Still being a part of that neighborhood is still very important. And because it was just a jumping off point, when we resold the project, whatever you had from that first sell, you could put it into our next development that would maybe in a general area. Because we were hoping to do vertical neighborhoods, the whole nine for a lot of our projects. And if COVID hadn't happened, we had a full pipeline of projects internationally that we were signed on to as managers and partial developers for others. So the system itself would have been grand. COVID kind of made things unpredictable, so I decided as more of a being more conscious for our, I guess, investors and our members, like where they were financially. I figured that it probably was risky for them to still have their money in with us, and we would shut it down for just a year and a half and bring it back once we thought COVID would be more stabilized and out of the way, and we could predictably say there's no major recession, and we could do these projects again at that point. But it was actually going quite well before then.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I mean, I love the initiative, and I think that it's very important, obviously, to have the mindset of ownership, even if it is a partial ownership, because that starts the track for you to begin to invest and begin to understand the importance of ownership. So I commend you on that effort. It's much needed. It's much needed, to say the least. So absolutely. Yeah, man, we need that. My next question is in reference to your specific role. What would you say your biggest challenge is right now, and how are you dealing with that?
So we're dealing with very different markets, and really 3 different markets. But London is kind of, Sharmala has that unlocked, and it's really doing itself really well. So I won't speak too much on that one. I will say Frank and I work really heavy in Hong Kong. That's, I guess, our head of Hong Kong operations. And and the culture fit is just really different from America, just like from Western markets in general. So here in the West, we have to actually market stuff. We have to have marketing team, marketing budgets, et cetera, et cetera. In the East, marketing looks totally different. You spend almost $0 on marketing, but you get units filled really simply, like easy. And there is competition at this point. In the East, what we're finding is hotels have changed their models. Now hotels are long stay, so they're direct competitors to us now. Whereas before, like we only had to worry about co-living spaces, maybe apartment blocks, that sort of thing. But they want to offer the services we do. Hotels on the other end do offer the services that we do because they're hotels. I mean, they're kind of geared up for this. So what we're finding is, hey, it's possible for us to partner with hotels there in this, in this market to improve their services, improve their tech stack, so they don't have to spend the money on themselves, and that keeps their costs down. So win-win, and they're also not our competitors at that point. But so that works in the East. In the West, coming back, Marriott doesn't have this issue. I mean, they have issues filling some units, sure, but then you have like a Sonder, you have I can't remember the other competitors that basically fill hotel rooms for them, like Snap Hotel, these sort of things. Like they don't have the issues that the East do in terms of, I guess, Hong Kong, trying to fill those units. There's no like major lockdown keeping internationals out of America at the moment. They're not as keen to partner with us, so that same business model doesn't necessarily work. Same thing with marketing. We need way more marketing dollars in the U.S. to make us look like a brand, a company that's like important enough for you to spend your dollars with than we do in China. In China, as long as they see a Western name, they're more or less okay with looking at us a bit. Or as long as we're like furnishing decent units in the Kowloon or major Hong Kong areas, we're doing great for them. So it ends up working out better. I will say Hong Kong though is way more expensive as well. So our financing, our way we keep our books, that's becoming more difficult as well. So I'm constantly trying to figure out or find the sweet spot in terms of our model of like what part of our model is coming from Hong Kong, coming to the U.S., and what part is staying strictly in Hong Kong, staying strictly in the U.S. We typically call this a 70-30 split, where we're 70% authentic to the markets that we're entering and 30% unique to Dreamhouse specifically as well. So yeah, just how it's going. I'm sorry for the long-winded answers, but yeah.
You're great, man. You're great, bro. That's the benefit of a podcast. It's long form content, so we got as much time as we need, man. So so take your time. I'm curious because I started Black Affluence in 2018 after realizing and reading an article that basically said the median household income for Black Americans was going to be $0 by 2050.
Wow.
So yeah, man. So just hearing that and just understanding that it kind of inspired me and my partner at the time to just want to create something for the community that was engaging and that encouraged them to seek entrepreneurship and financial literacy. I would love to hear how you have been able to use financial literacy to navigate your career, and if you could just pretty much touch on the importance of being financially literate in entrepreneurship and the world in general, I would appreciate it.
So interesting about me is I kind of grew up in a family that kind of did these, I wouldn't say lessons, but they were more like lessons. Like we spent our summers with one or two of our uncles, my father, and they would tell us like basically cultures around how to do finances, how to do this, like basically steps of becoming a man or steps of becoming like a wealthy man long term. And it was just me and my cousins, my brothers and cousins, learning this stuff from the elders in our family, and that was like a huge effect on me long term, just like being able to see, one, these guys are all business owners, executives, this sort of thing, that were like successful in their own rights. So I'm watching them, like Black men already owning their stuff, owning these companies, traveling internationally, like pretty affluent. So for me, it's like no-brainer to listen to them, no-brainer to read the books they're giving me to read. But it wasn't just like reading one time. You read them a few times, and you start understanding a bit more about like practices that you have to have, like kind of ingrained within yourself that equal towards success long term. So for me, it's kind of like second nature. This whole prosperity, idea of prosperity long term, especially for families, I suppose, or generationally, I suppose. Like, it's second nature almost. It's like, well, it'd be weird if I wasn't at this point. Because I was set up, I would be messed up if I didn't. I'd be not playing my own role. So I mean, that's partially why it's important. Because I feel like to a degree, it's become like a culture for our family. Like, and that's what maybe the principle that others should follow. You have to make it into a ingrained culture or second nature to only see yourselves as becoming wealthy over time, or this is what is expected. Like anything less is just like you've wasted your time. And time's quite valuable because it's not really your friend. It's like quite an enemy of yours. So I'm not sure about like necessarily answer the question the best way, but that's kind of how I've learned it and how it's been, I guess, front of my mind or what's kept me going. It's like this idea that it's when things become culture, I think at that point you're kind of like stuck with it.
I love it. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like working out, because we have to kind of almost fall in love with working out. We have to become enthralled and enthusiastic about working out instead of it being something that we're just despising and like, oh, I gotta work out. Like, no, you get to work out. Just like you get to manage your finances properly, you get to pay your bills. That's something that we could learn to, like you said, embrace it in part of our culture, and then we can start to live it without thinking about it. Like, I started going to the gym at 5:30 in the morning, and when I started, it was something that was like extremely, like, I wouldn't say extremely because I always kind of wake up early, but it was a mindset shift that I had to go through until I realized, like, I don't need anybody to tell me to go. Like, I actually want to do it for myself, and that's when I started to enjoy it and see the results. So I definitely appreciate your explanation of that.
Sweet, yeah. No, yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not into the 5 a.m. gym sessions. People don't like going to the gym at night. I like going to the gym at night. Nobody's there. It's empty. Like, strong nighttime gyms. It's a good time. Yeah. No, I feel you though. It's definitely it's definitely like training yourself, or taming yourself. I think is the better way to put it. That monkey mind is it's a real enemy of most people. Absolutely. Pain averse.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. So, let's talk about what is the biggest surprise that you've had in the last few months and why?
The last few months. Well, I'll go with what do you say? A few months from like the last 3.
Yeah, I mean, you could say the last 3 to 6.
Sure. So I can't go. Won't go with that one. I will go with this one then. So we had been or have been applying like over and over again for this like 5G subsidy from the Hong Kong government. It's like 500,000 that we would get to basically build this Domovoy system. I kind of mentioned earlier. It's like smart tech and kind of connected, not even kind of connected to our application Dream app. So it's can manage our spaces better, but also work as like a smart mirror and that's actually the surprise. That was the punchline. But work as a system that can like kind of very similar to Alexa or Siri or Google Home, but just smarter. Like actually carry out inquiries within our closed network of spaces, but also within our local block powered by 5G. To like if you have a request from a grocery store that's down the street within the 5G range that we have set up for that neighborhood, our robots can go pick it up, deliver it to you, interact with you a bit, but remember what you're ordering, this sort of thing. Like I said, we have applied a few times, and the first 2 times we didn't get it, but the operator or the representative from the grant basically assured us, like, you're so close, just keep doing it. It's like maybe you shouldn't even be sharing that, but that's not his job to do. But he's super helpful, like pushing us. So in a way, it maybe necessarily wasn't a big shocker that we ended up getting it, but it definitely was a surprise. Like, it wasn't like unknown to us, like we were going to receive it, but it was a surprise that we ended up like actually winning out. And when we finally got the letter going, like, wow, like that's 500,000 we can do, like a project that we thought would be 12 years down the line. We'll start on at least just now. So that's, I wouldn't say it's going like amazingly well, but it's going pretty good. I mean, COVID slows things down, and one thing you learn if you ever do business with like tech in the East is no matter what the television tells you about like Americans slacking off at work and the Chinese like working super hard 12 hours a day, or the Chinese or Japanese, South Koreans working 12 hours a day, they're pretty unproductive. Is it because they prioritize work and working life a bit differently than we do, despite what media tries to tell you? This is what I'm finding anyway. So where we in America may be like very goal oriented, we're going to hit these metrics overnight. They may hit the metrics, but they may not be the perfect number, the perfect way. They need to be refined. It's not like the U.S. standard, It's very British standard. Well, I mean, British standard actually better than the U.S. standard. It's very we'll just go. I want to be like Trumpish, but yeah, it's very Chinese standard. But we'll maybe get into that another time. But yeah. So things are going well though, and we're excited to have the grant. But that's the one caveat. It's like I gotta get some more Western guys on.
Got you. Well, huge congratulations, man, for you just surpassing the goals, man. You'll be at the moon in no time where you're headed, bro.
Yeah, ideally, yeah. We're fingers crossed. We're working hard to get ourselves on the map at least. The definitely open to new talent in the U.S. and trying to find definitely more developers to work with to kind of expand this thing past just the Southeast. Because we're looking to be strictly international over the next 2 years, and we kind of are currently, technically speaking, but like a household name in the next 2 years. So
yeah, man, I got a few people I want to connect you with that are doing some pretty big things in the real estate and the wholesaling area, and they're actually on a tour right now, just teaching generational wealth to the Black community, and they're doing some pretty transformative things, man. So, but with that said, what is one common myth about your field or profession, that you would like to debunk right now?
Common myth. So, increasingly, what I'm finding is there's this idea that you need to go through all these college courses, be really well taught and well read in terms of a lot of the tech or the real estate stuff that I'm looking to do. And to some degree, this is true, but ultimately, a lot of this stuff is not nearly as complicated as you think it is. There's a lot of gatekeepers that try to make it seem that way, I believe. But the more and maybe because I have a tech team that's pretty talented, backing me up. So I have questions. When I have questions, I have answers for the most part. So maybe that's not everyone's luck. But for the most part, I feel like if you're able to ask questions or learn how to ask questions, you're able to get answers really clearly to what you need. And they're pretty much out there. None of this stuff is really that complicated. I shouldn't be an outlier. I think I am an outlier at the moment just because it does take time, some dedication, you gotta abuse a little bit to put up with some of this stuff. But for the most part, you have time and just give a little bit of effort to it, day by day, keep cracking at it. And like I said earlier in the conversation, just have somebody there to be like, yo, bro, we still got this. don't get discouraged. We're still going in the right direction. Like somebody have a North Star with you, you'll be all right. So I think overall that's the biggest myth that I think can be disbanded, is that it takes like a bunch of education, a bunch of resources to do this or to do any of this. Like it does take resources for sure, but in terms of like the knowledge gap, you can figure this stuff out overnight, and that's like the first, probably the hardest step. I won't say overnight, that's an exaggeration, but you get right. Relatively a lot faster than the 18 months to a college course on AI or whatever. It's not nearly as difficult, but maybe have some fundamentals as well. So I don't know.
Yeah. That's actually very important. I mean, I can see that myth in multiple fields across. I mean, even just entrepreneurship in general. A lot of people think that they need to know everything about their business or everything about business to get started, and that's a huge myth. You just need to, like you said, take that first step and just chip away, right? The Chinese proverb, the journey to 1,000 miles begins with the first step. And exactly. Looks like you've been stepping all the way from Atlanta to Hong Kong to Louisiana and Berlin and all these places, man. It's incredibly inspirational to see another young black man out here impacting the world, not just their area, but the entire globe. And I really commend you and your team and your staff just for continuing to raise the bar and the standards for the black community. As we wrap up, I would just like to say, if you could step into my shoes, what would you ask yourself that I have yet to ask you?
Oh, let me see. I'll probably ask someone, or I would ask you, like, what would be the thing that makes you, like, where's your exit, or like, what would make you stop? Like, what's the ultimate trade-off for you? Like, you get that point where you're like, this is where it's been hard enough for me, and I can't take no more. Just like, I gotta stop it. I gotta walk off. I may ask someone that, because it's always interesting to see what their their breaking point is. Because often you find once you kind of determine that's my breaking point, it never is. Like, you can always go further and further, but if you're not aware of it, you never know like how far you can actually push yourself or whatnot. Unless you're one of those people that are overly analytical, then maybe you do. But yeah.
So is that your answer? I mean, what how would you answer that question? Because I'm curious. Do you have a point, or I'm sure you have a plan and an exit, but I'm just curious. What are your answers?
Oh no, I'm for sure in this for life. I mean,
for life.
I want to die doing this, but
yes.
Like there's this new movie, Soul, which is pretty fine film, Pixar, or whatever. And I kind of felt it was like totally counterintuitive to the whole thing that Disney has like kind of spewed out for years. It's just like, you can have a reason for being. You do have a mission in life, like well, I disagree with the philosophy that we live and then we add meaning to life through living. Like, yeah, true, but I do think you do have like an ingrained reason for being. I think everyone does. Even if it is like none are small, like it may seem insignificant on the scale of like the world or whatever, but none are small. So that's why I say like I have times where I feel down, like I want to put things down. But I don't have a time or a idea of this is my breaking point, and that's probably because I've hit the breaking point and passed it maybe twice now. Actually, when we first went to China to get everything started, we were meeting with investors. We ended up stupidly, like, we're young. Me and James were like 27 and 28 at this point, so we're not that young. I mean, 26, 27 at this point. So we go out and we celebrate or whatever. We have drinks the night before the investor meeting, and we're meeting with like these like billionaire investors, like from Hong Kong, from mainland China, from Dubai, all these places and whatnot, and in India, sorry, Japri. But so they actually decided to they set up another meeting. One of them does, Frank, this one Hong Kong guy who ends up being my partner now, so it is a happy ending. But we're totally totally hungover the next morning, just like can barely present, just like it's a 12-hour difference. No?
Yeah.
So can barely present, and like basically, ultimately they decide that this is not the right time for them, even though things numbers-wise look fine. Just the presentation was kind of bad, too long, and sloppy. And we kept coughing because the smog was something totally different. We didn't take Claritin or whatever else, wear masks. Just like the air quality was just totally different. But so yeah, tough rejection, but we stay on it. Like we keep working, and eventually we end up like getting the investors back online and getting Frank to be our partner. But at that point, I was like, no, I'm sorry. We came back to the U.S. We told them what the critiques were and what the investors were looking for from us, and our team were kind of like, no, I'm not really interested in doing it. They were like, well, why we got to go to China? We can do it right here in the U.S. We don't need those guys. But we weren't finding investment dollars in the U.S. That was really like super discouraging after you have like this out the blue opportunity that nobody else is getting this opportunity for the most part. I don't know any other black guy, especially not where I'm from, that's been able to get meetings with billionaires, let alone millionaire investors, like a startup, let alone a small company. So really discouraging when people are telling you like, no, we can't do it. And that was kind of a breaking point for me. Yeah. I decided to stick at it and keep going. And now we're where we're at. I mean, things aren't great, but they're getting better consistently. So, we're not where we want to be, but we're going.
I love it. I just wanted to clear something up. Did you say that you were hungover or that there was a layover?
No, we were hungover. We went out.
Oh, you were straight.
We were celebrating. Yeah, we were like, they flew us out to Hong Kong. So you're thinking if somebody pays $4,000 to fly you out, pay for your room and your board and all that, you're thinking you made it. And we're young, we're stupid, and
gotcha.
Like I said, we're from where we're from, people don't get opportunities, so we don't really have common sense says don't do that, obviously, but we didn't have that kind of chart, so yeah.
Guess that's part of the growth process. You say you do it, yeah.
I'll do it again, just like after the meeting.
After the meeting,
yeah.
I love
maybe
that.
drink just like a little less, or drink some Tylenol or something. I don't know, but it's a regret, but only kind of because things ended up working out by the grace of God. But yeah, it was tough.
Yeah, God and that perseverance of yours, man, that takes you far.
Ah, yeah, for sure.
So, where can our listeners connect with you online?
Oh yeah, so you can visit us at www. I guess it's 2021. I don't have to say www. Sorry. StayDreamHouse.com would be the best place to reach us. You can also go Stay Dream House on IG. I believe it's the same thing on Twitter. It's probably Dream House Co-Living on LinkedIn and Facebook, but we may change that in the next month or two. I'm not, depending on who the new marketing guy is, he may make everything uniform, which I prefer. But yeah, Dream House Co-Living for Facebook and LinkedIn. Snapchat, IG, Twitter, etc., etc. Stay Dream House, same as the website, to reach us there. Or if you want to email me directly, it's john@staydreamhouse.com, or the company itself, info or sales@dreamhouse.com. Yeah, that's off the top of my head. Those are the main emails you probably need. Yeah, and we look forward to your visit. If you have any questions for us, we'd love to have new neighbors. So.
Absolutely, John. Again, thank you so much for your time. I do have one more last question that I always ask my guests. This final question, I would love your take. What does freedom mean to you?
Not to sound contrarian, I don't think freedom actually exists. I think it's pretty illusionary, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But I like the idea of it, right? Like the opportunity to make choices that no one actually has influence over but ultimately we're all like victims of like where we're born, who we're around, and circumstance for sure. So I may not necessarily believe in fate controlling all things or the lack of free will, but I do believe in orchestrated events and realities. Like you'd be hard pressed to make Donald Trump to be a Michael Jordan. You see what I mean? Like, there's no way a Donald Trump would ever be as athletic as a Michael Jordan. I mean, unless you start him off as a baby, but his background would discourage that pretty consistently. So yeah, that's my take. It's illusion. It's an illusion. That's a nice one. It's comforting, but it doesn't exist.
Wow.
I hope that's not like too morbid for the audience. So it's okay to say.
It's deep, man. It's something to think about. You know, I think that it's okay to have a unique approach and opinion on life. It's okay to be contrarian, and you know, that's something that we should actually embrace and not be so against, because a lot of the things that we have been programmed to think, it's not, as we all know, it's not necessarily for the betterment of ourselves as it is for everyone else.
No, for sure. And that's sucks sometimes for everyone else, sometimes for myself. So it's life.
Well, Mr. Experience. It's all good, man. Well, John, I don't know how else I can thank you, but I sincerely appreciate your time, and you know, you and your brother doing, and the team is just amazing, and I'm very grateful for you taking the time to speak with the Black Affluence audience, and I look forward to working with you and having you on in the future. Hopefully we can do a live stream and just really just educate the community on what it is that you're doing and how they can get involved. So thank you again.
Oh yeah, I love that. Yeah, thanks, Xavier. Happy to be on and talk to your audience as well. It's a good time. Look forward to being on again as well.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. So you enjoy the rest of your time and in Florida down there, and we'll be in touch very soon, brother.
Awesome, yeah, bro. Talk soon. Cheers.
All right, cheers.
I really hope you enjoyed this episode of the Black Affluence Podcast. Stay connected with us directly through black-affluence.com. You can also join the discussion on Twitter and Instagram at black_affluence. If you would like to be featured on an upcoming episode, reach us at info@black-affluence.com. And as always, thank you for pushing your mindset towards a better reality. This concludes the most thought-provoking portion of your day. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay fully up to date. Until next time, stay healthy, wealthy, and be wise.